Have a great show.
Thanks.
Tracy, Sweetie, and Joseph have a wonderful show.
May the show rise to meet you. May the show rise to meet your expectations. I did some Scottish seeping in there. We have to wait 30 seconds before I can start Alpha Geek Media, so that's why I do accents now.
Gotcha. I was going to say I'd get in on this, but it would sound just as good as your accent, Tom.
Boom. Garrett, how are you dealing with the wedding? Are you in terminal velocity on wedding yet?
I'm trying to keep my language clean right now, Justin. We're on DTNS, so yeah. Let's not approach that subject.
I'm trying real hard. Yeah.
All right, I'm starting AGM. Here it goes. It's gonna. Okay, there we go. Let's record this.
Support for the Daily Tech News Show is provided by Patreons like you at patreon.com/acedetect. This is FPN, the Frog Pants Network.
This is the Daily Tech News for Thursday, September 24th, 2015. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, the triumphant return of the recently married Justin Robert Young. Welcome back.
Oh, my Lord. Folks, I am so excited to be back here, where I belong, on a DTNS Thursday, delivering the tech news for one and all.
It's so good. We missed you. You look tanned and rested and Nixonian in every way.
Oh, well, thank you. I very much appreciate it, and the fact that I do give you the tech news means that it's not illegal.
That's right. You are not a crook. You're a contributor to this show. We're going to be talking about eSports. TBS, cable television, is going to be doing an eSports league, and so we brought in somebody who knows from eSports, Mr. Garrett Weinzierl, host of the Angry Chicken and Into the Nexus podcasts. Thanks for joining us, man.
Oh, thanks for having me, Tom.
It's gonna be weird for me to hear Garrett talking without Jocelyn and Dills responding, because I'm a big fan of the Angry Chicken.
And also at normal speed, because you're one of those.
And so at normal speed, and also not
podcasts.
while I'm at Ralph's, which is usually where I'm listening.
So
we'll make do. We'll figure it out. Let's get into some headlines. Hey, the Oculus Connect conference is happening, and we got all kinds of stuff coming out of that. Samsung announced a $99 Gear VR headset, along with the Gear V 1.0 SDK, releasing this November for every 2015 Samsung headset. So it's easier to remember now, like, which one does this one work with? This one works with any Samsung headset that came out this year. Also, Netflix, Hulu, Vimeo, TiVo, Twitch, Vimeo, Lionsgate, and Oculus Arcade will all have apps that work with the headset. Fox announced it will bring more than 100 movies to the Oculus Store at launch of the Oculus Rift. Titles to include Alien, Birdman, Taken, Die Hard, and Office Space. Palmer Luckey, CEO of Oculus, announced Minecraft will be available for the Oculus Rift at launch next spring from the Oculus Store and the Windows 10 Store. Alienware, Dell, and Asus will launch Oculus-ready PCs that support the Rift out of the box. Machines feature a minimum of 8 gigabytes of RAM, Intel's i5 processor, NVIDIA GTX 9700, or AMD 290 GPUs, and all of them sell for less than $1,000, and eventually when the Oculus Rift gets a price and release date, there will be bundles that you can buy that include an Oculus Rift. And finally, version 1.0 of the Rift SDK, different from the Gear VR SDK, launches in December, and a second SDK specific to motion control, by the way, motion controllers coming in Q2, they say, will arrive before launch in 2016. VR Palooza, Justin.
All right, so many very interesting things coming out of this. Number one, we still, again, just to underline something that you said, but for people who have not been following this story, we don't have a release date and price for the consumer version, not the SDK, but the consumer version of Oculus Rift, right?
Early 2016, that's all they've said.
Okay, so basically they're saying not for Christmas, and we're not taking pre-orders for Christmas. This is not going to be a Kenner Star Wars toy certificate kind of situation.
No Boba Fett, yeah.
No Boba Fett. That being said, we now have so much around this that I'm going to make a prediction about our prediction show that happens at the end of 2015 leading into 2016. I will predict that it will not be a valid prediction to call 2016 the year of virtual reality, because never before, and listen, we've seen, this is something that we've covered here on this show extensively, we've seen a lot of very interesting things happening. Nothing as solid. We are going to get competing major publicity for products, not only from Oculus Rift, and then this is them girding their loins, getting ready to go after whatever we're going to see from the Valve VR that's getting such insane reviews from people who have played with it currently. So this is a gigantic step, and there's so many very interesting things that they announced. I would suspect about 10% of it will actually be relevant by the time people actually get these things on their heads and play around with it. Because to be honest, I think my normal experience of watching Office Space is probably going to be fine. I don't necessarily need to be surrounded by Initech.
Yeah, I mean, Hunger Games in VR, if there's a movie that's shot for it, that's different. I don't know if I need to necessarily just put on the headset to surround myself, but maybe once I try it, I'll change my mind. They also showed off a handful of games, Garrett, and that's really what everyone expects to be the app people use at first, whether there's Netflix available or not, is video games. Are you excited about this?
I mean, I've been excited about VR for a while. The thing is that I haven't had a chance to try one out. There hasn't been one at any of the conventions that I've attended, and the sentiment I keep hearing from everyone who has had a chance to actually try it, it all boils down to, to get a real opinion about this type of hardware is you absolutely have to try it. So while I am kind of excited about it, I mean, we've been hearing about Oculus Rift for over 2 years now. It's it's really at a simmer at this point for me.
Longer than that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually.
Let's bring it, Oculus. I would have liked a month today. That's the only thing. There was a lot of good announcements that if I had a release date would have got me super hyped. But right now it's like, okay, so you're still adding things. People are making apps. People are making games. That's great. When can I get it? That's really what everybody wants.
It is something that you would think in a perfect world they wanted to have, right? Like they wanted, like this could have been their. Well, I guess the iPhone announced the general time, right? Initially in 2007, and then they eventually announced the exact date. But normally, it was just spring of 2008 when they first announced it. So maybe 28-year-old paraplegic Adam Fritz was able to walk 3.6 meters with partial overhead support, thanks to a brain-to-computer interface experiment at UC Irvine's iMove Lab. Sorry, not iMovie. It doesn't come pre-installed on your Mac. iMove Lab. Reuters reports the apparatus lets Adam's brain bypass his severed spinal cord and send signals from an EEG in a cap to match his leg muscles using electrodes around his knees. The experiment was performed last year and is now being published in the Journal of Neuroengineering and Rehabilitation. Do the studies co-author said clinical applications were many years away and required more research. Still, talk about something very, very exciting.
Yeah, and I think what I like about this is it is a peer-reviewed article. This is not, somebody demonstrated something in a lab and they're going to be publishing more research. Like, this is something where they're like, hey, we've found out some very important advances here a year ago. And so there's more research that has been done since then, but this is solid stuff and pretty amazing. donotr submitted the CBC story that the government of Canadian province British Columbia has misplaced an unencrypted backup hard drive that has 3.4 million student records from 1986 to 2009 on it, including information on health and behavior issues. So records of people having problems at home, son. That's on this hard drive. It includes name, gender, postal code, personal education number as well, but it does not include social insurance or health numbers. The drive was supposed to be located in a locked cage in a locked warehouse, and officials with the Education Ministry have been looking for it since August. They just told the minister about it Friday. They finally got the gumption to be like, we lost a hard drive.
Turns out all that did go on your permanent record.
Yeah, and somebody's got it at their house. My guess, I don't know why I think this more than any other story like this. My guess is somebody just stole a hard drive and wiped it and wanted to use it at home. I don't know why. That's just my sense I get.
You're saying this is the government equivalent of, hey, I need some paper clips. I'll take this whole box. No one will notice.
That's what it feels like to me. Somebody who had a key to the cage.
There's a question. Why is this information being stored for this long? Why did somebody who went to school in 1986, why is there still records of what they did? Isn't this something that kind of should, I mean, in an era, now that we are well adjusted to an era of infinite data space.
You said it, Justin. It's your permanent record.
I mean, all right, but this is stuff that can get lost, right? Like, I mean, if you have a police record, something where you've run afoul of the law, if you have a social services record, I think that's something. But, like, what you did as a student?
Well, but a lot of this is behavioral. Like, I could see reasons to say, like, we need to keep document for mental health reasons. There are health records involved here, so there may be more to it than that. And I don't know what Canadian law is on this.
Yeah, I guess to me, and this is, I know, talking about a story that's not the story, but it just seems to me like, anything that is worthwhile to keep could be kept somewhere else where it would be more relevant than a locked warehouse in a locked cage where somebody obviously had the keys.
And granted, this was the backup. The actual records are still available online in behind a password protected system, I would hope. This was just they were doing what you're supposed to do when you want to preserve data. You make an offline backup and you store it separately so that if the main one gets deleted, you've still got access to the backup unless someone stole it out of a locked warehouse in a locked cage.
Exactly. And I'll tell you what embarrassing information could possibly come from your activities as a student, said David Cameron out loud a week and a half ago. The New York Times reports IBM will set up a second office for artificial intelligence system Watson in San Francisco in 2016. IBM's Watson Group was set up as a separate business in January 2014 and has an office in Manhattan. IBM is announcing Watson is now capable of providing services like speech, language understanding, image recognition, and sentiment analysis as a service. 70,000 software developers already use Watson in some way.
I'm going to use Watson to find out if my friend's mad at me to sign up for Sentiment as a service. No, this is IBM trying to get into the big data game with the branding of Watson, who's been on Jeopardy. The power of that algorithm, which is very good, and honestly, trying to stay neck and neck with Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and others who are trying to be the first to say, we can do your structured data for you.
It is amazing that this is a race of who can be your business's smart best friend, right? Like it is an arms race from all the companies that you just mentioned, and like you said, Watson by far is the most famous after he beat the dude on Jeopardy.
Kylde pointed out this next story on our subreddit, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Also, big thanks to Kylde for being our self-proclaimed janitor, keeping the subreddit clean. Akamai's latest numbers show the global average connection speed rose 3.5% to 5.1 megabits per second on average worldwide in Q2 2015. South Korea still ranks first, 23.1 megabits per second on average, drool, followed by Hong Kong, Japan, Sweden, and Switzerland at number 5 with 15.6 megabits per second. If you're wondering where the U.S. ranks, since the majority of our listeners live there, you're 20th at 11.7 megabits per second on average. Tunisia saw the greatest growth in speed at 67%. Faster speeds than the last survey. They still have 2.8 megabits per second on average. And Singapore leads with average peak speeds. So this is the fastest anybody gets during an average day of 108 megabits per second on average. So that's pretty fast speeds, even if they can't maintain them all day long. Similarly, OpenSignal has published their survey of LTE speeds. South Korea topped those charts as well, with 25 megabits per second added to 97% coverage. New Zealand delivers the fastest LTE at 36 megabits per second, but they only have 51% coverage. And if you're wondering about the U.S., 10th in coverage at 78% and 55th in speed at 10 megabits per second.
Which, coverage, right? So coverage of the entire United States, it's a bit more of a tricky situation than some of the other countries that were listed there, obviously both in size and terrain. But again, speed, the real bugaboo there. I mean, it is it's hard to maintain an average speed, a super fast average speed over the entirety of the United States. So this might not be something that you could necessarily point at and say shame, shame, shame to the carriers. Other numbers like what they are in big metropolitan areas where people do have a lot of money and there are a lot of resources are probably more along those lines.
Well, in LTE, the U.S. was first, so they used to be really high on this chart. And as that infrastructure has aged, countries that weren't first to the LTE game, like South Korea, have now leapfrogged because they went straight in with the faster LTE while we're busy upgrading. So the LTE game makes sense to me. The U.S. is just in the middle of the pack as far as broadband goes. Not horrible, not great. Just one of those things. Do you feel it, Garrett? Do you have good bandwidth where you live?
It's a sore subject for me. I just had to switch to Comcast from Verizon because Verizon's upload was just not working for me. But when it was working, I had 150 over 150, and it was amazing. But now I'm back on Comcast with a pretty decent download and a miserable upload.
Ugh.
But at least it's a reliable upload.
Where are you at on LTE speeds out there?
I actually don't know.
Nice.
I couldn't tell you.
But your phone works.
My phone does work,
That's
but
what
I
it
also
sounds like
I
to me.
spend almost all of my time on a Wi-Fi signal.
Yeah.
The only time I'm ever using it is when I'm traveling, which means I'm not home. So.
Engadget passes along the EvLeaks and N4BB claims that BlackBerry's upcoming Android phone will be called the BlackBerry Priv, as in privacy. The leaked photo confirms the phone will have a QWERTY slider keyboard with a curved screen and an 18-megapixel camera. Is there a more BlackBerry name, Tom, than the Priv for privacy?
Wow. Priv for pervs is the first thing that popped into my mind when I saw this, and I apologize for that to everyone. But as Brian Brushwood said when I said that to him this morning and I saw this article, this is a good move for BlackBerry, though. Like, marketing on privacy is smart. It's what they should do. It's what they're good at. So good on you, BlackBerry.
Sure. I mean, a lot of other names.
Not the best.
You know, just saying.
They could have just named
Maybe
it
this won't be the name. Maybe EvLeaks and N4BB got it wrong. Who knows?
It would have been a better name, QWERTY, after the slider keyboard.
Make a little mascot.
Yeah. Why not? little slider keyboard dances around and sells your BlackBerry.
Quietly. But they want to sell the privacy aspect.
Yeah, exactly. No. But here's the thing about QWERTY. He doesn't spill your secrets. You tell him anything.
Yeah.
He ain't going to crack.
You designed the mascot not to have a mouth.
Exactly. You got a warrant for that, cop?
What are you, a cop? Microsoft has agreed to make Baidu the default search engine for the Edge browser in China. According to the Next Web, Baidu will offer Windows 10 universal Windows applications for search, video cloud, and maps. Microsoft says it has no plans to abandon Bing in China, just wants to provide good local search. Microsoft already partners in China with Tencent for social networking, Qihoo 360 for security, and the Next Web reports Xiaomi is helping Microsoft test Windows 10 on Mi 4 handsets with some of its users.
This deal kind of screams the price of doing business in China, right?
Yeah, I in many different ways, right? I mean, first of all, there are loads of regulatory hoops to jump through when you're working in China. So it's a lot easier to partner with somebody. We've seen Uber do that. We've seen Facebook do that. We've seen lots of companies do that. So Microsoft's no fool there. But it's also a little bit of Microsoft saying, look, we want to provide the best service wherever we are, and the best service in China is run by Baidu, so we're going to partner with them. I don't know that they would do the same thing, say, in Europe, where Google has 90% share, but it is interesting, yeah.
It makes sense, and also it is not outside the realm of possibility that, I mean, again, the Microsoft that showed up on stage at an Apple event to plug, Office apps while a tablet that looks suspiciously like the Surface was also being debuted. The same Microsoft that is touting the experience that you'll have on an Oculus Rift to play Minecraft when they also have their own AR program coming out. It is all about getting what they do well on every platform possible and partnering where they don't. Which I guess that would.
The Satya man just wants you to be happy.
Hey, listen, Satya madness. It's happening. Yeah. Engadget has an update about Samsung Pay, which has been in use in South Korea for about a month. Samsung says it has seen 30 million in transactions over 1.5 million purchases. 36% of users were active in the past month, and 10% were using Samsung Pay every day. 60% of Korean purchases went through a Galaxy Note 5. By comparison, an unnamed fintech expert in our chat room says estimates on Apple Pay have been between 6 and 8 million cards set up for Apple Pay.
So Samsung Pay doing very well in South Korea, where Samsung is dominant, right? Everybody knows and uses Samsung in South Korea. Well, not everybody, obviously, but lots of people do. Whether that can translate outside of South Korea is a different matter, but this is really good uptake. And one of the dings on Samsung Pay was because it does that Loop Pay that they bought thing where they can, mimic a magnetic stripe. People were thinking, well, that's not going to be as useful outside of the United States, where us dopes have still been using magnetic stripes without chips for a long time. It seems to be doing just fine in South Korea.
Absolutely.
Wired, yeah. Mm-hmm. Wired reports Facebook is renaming its Internet.org website and app to Free Basics by Facebook. The service aims to provide free access to various websites and services. We've talked about it before. It's in 18 countries. The organization that makes the app will continue to be called Internet.org. They kind of want to separate the organization from the app. That's one of the reasons they're doing this. That organization will continue to pursue lots of connectivity projects. Totally related story, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to visit Facebook's campus today, and Internet.org just happens to have caused some controversy in India around net neutrality because it's a zero rating app. They give you some data for free, but not all data for free. So I think that's part of the reason they're announcing that name change today, too.
Well, I'll tell you, I've heard from very, very good sources that they got a hell of a cafeteria there. So I think Mr. Modi is going to have a real good time at the campus. This seems like a branding issue, right? They want to separate philanthropic stuff that they do with Internet.org, and having been rightfully criticized for some of these zero-rated apps, they want to call them more what they are. Here are Facebook things, and they're designed so you use Facebook, and we're happy to kind of give you the taste for free so you can.
And we might have Wikipedia and other basics in there. These free basics by Facebook. Yeah, totally. I agree with you.
But it is a smart move. It seems like it's more. This is a better labeling for it, as opposed to it seeming, as they were criticized, a little bit more sinister. That they were like, "Oh no, this is our charity. Please take our free basics." LG has released a teaser video showing a secondary display on top of the phone with the date of October 10th, 2015, followed by the words, "Coming soon," presumably October 1st, 2015. The video implies the phone will be enjoyed by people with an asymmetrical haircut. In Gadget Notes, Evleaks previously described a similar phone called the AG V10.
LG V10 with a secondary screen above the regular screen? Okay. I guess...
Is this their attempt to somehow do multi-monitors on a handheld device?
Listen,
it gives
dude,
you alerts without turning on the full screen? Does that save you battery life?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish here.
Notifications. You know what? I'm starting to change my mind just as I think about it. So the Samsung Edge is what you compare this to, where it has little notifications show up on the edge. But wouldn't you rather have them show up on the face of the phone, but without lighting up the whole display? So maybe it is somewhat useful. But I don't know if I'd call it a second screen. It's just like battery-friendly notifications, even if it is technically a second screen.
Yeah.
Love that haircut, though. I think I'm going to go with that. Watch the video, folks. LG V10.
I definitely got to read these scripts before I read them.
Yes. We get a lot of our ideas from you folks and our subreddit at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. So get in there and vote. The more of you do, the more helpful it is. And that's a look at the headlines. Okay, folks, TBS, cable television network here in the United States, and WMEIMG, a talent agency co-owned by Ari Emanuel, the inspiration for Ari Gold in Entourage, is getting together to create a Counter-Strike Global Offensive League. They've got a deal with Valve. They don't have a name for the league. They're going to do 2 10-week seasons in 2016, a total of 20 episodes, on Friday nights in Atlanta. They'll do digital content Tuesday through Friday, so they're not abandoning the fact that most people who watch esports watch it online. They'll even do a live digital stream as a companion to the TV broadcast. 5-person teams. They even say that non-WME IMG clients may be picked for the teams. Tobias Sherman, the head of the esports division at the agency, told Variety it's not just the top teams, but the underdogs as well. They said working with existing leagues just didn't make any sense. That's what the president of Turner Sports, Lenny Daniels, told Variety. Garrett, what do you make of this? It seems a little weird to create a league for TV when, we saw that ESPN thing last April where people in TV land thought it was weird and all the esports people loved it, but they're already online.
Right, and actually there were dissenting voices on the esports side of things because a lot of us are cord cutters, and we were like, well, why can't we watch this on Twitch like every other esports tournament? But that's a vocal minority. I mean, a lot of us were just really excited to see something that we love on mainstream media. It was cool, and they had good production value. But I think this is fine, and the fact that they're not completely abandoning online broadcasting addresses any immediate concerns I would have had, because I feel like one of the issues with esports is a lot of the tournaments, it's a lot of content to take in. It's not like it's just a 3 or 4 hour single game between two teams and you're done and it tells the whole story. So it's kind of hard to make it work for TV in that aspect, especially if you're going to have a long ongoing league. So since they're going to have, supplemental content online and then have whatever, the big match of the week is Friday, every Friday for 10 weeks, it actually sounds like a pretty smart setup for me, because that's, we've talked about getting esports on television on our shows many times, and it always comes down to, well, how do we kind of bend it to fit what we see as kind of an older form, something where you constantly have to stop and make room for commercials, especially with some of the other games like Valve's Dota 2. Those games can go on past an hour. Where do you cut that?
I mean, listening to you describe it, it suddenly occurs to me that my big block when I read the story was like, why are you creating a league? There are lots of leagues already. Why not partner with a league? But what you're describing kind of feels like what this really is a tournament. They're just going to do 2 different tournaments because they are going to have playoffs and a championship. I mean why not just call it a tournament then?
I mean, it's almost semantics at that point. New leagues kind of pop up all the time for different esports, especially when a new game comes out and anyone even gets the slightest whiff that it will work as an esport. I mean, we saw Rocket League very recently kind of come out seemingly out of nowhere, even though apparently it's a sequel, and then a couple weeks later there's esports tournaments happening for it. So it's not really anything new. It's just kind of finding the money and finding the talent to produce an event like this.
Well, let's look at it, because to me there are 2 sides of it. A, does it work as a television show, and B, does it work as a league? Because I think, Tom, you are dead right. This is just a tournament. But then again, what is the NFL but a 16-week round robin with a playoff decision to find out who wins? This shouldn't necessarily be much different. Do you believe, Garrett, that this is a success? Has the little dipping the toes in the water that esports has done with Heroes of the Dorm and some of the other experiments, have those been successful on television?
Not in a classic sense, no. We talked a lot about Heroes of the Dorm on our hero show Into the Nexus back when it aired, and it averaged about 96,000 viewers when it aired on ESPN2, which isn't all that great. For reference, I pulled up like the week before Saturday night what they showed, and it was a repeat of a documentary, and it pulled in 310,000 viewers. So it wasn't the best thing in the world, but it's also not the worst. And there's also the demographic to kind of consider. The majority age demographic for esports is it's millennials. It's early 20s, which is a sought-after demographic that apparently, according to everything I've read today about the TVS announcement, it's a hard demographic to reach.
But what you have is right now a kind of probably not a terrible look for TBS. This is a network that has a fairly successful franchise in King of the Nerds. This is a network that has done very well programming reruns of Family Guy, which does do well with millennials. And
a network that's available for cord cutters on Sling TV.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And you got to imagine that is a platform that they are going to look to explore far more, not only on Sling TV, but also with all these other bundles that are sure to come in the next year and a half for people that are going to buy over set-top boxes. Now, the question is it good as a league for esports, and do we have any sense that the people running this have, can name their butt from their elbow when it comes to a very specific, and more than most, a very picky fan base that is very, very, very concerned about the product being treated respectfully?
I believe so. Now, obviously, we haven't seen a single episode yet. It's not starting until next year, so time is going to tell. We're not really going to know until it comes out. But IMG, who you mentioned, was the company that brokered this deal with TBS. This all started because earlier this year, in this past January, they bought Global Esports Management, which was the go-to esports agency out there that are representing if you throw a stone and you hit a famous esports caster, chances are Global Esports Management was representing them.
Trump?
Excuse me?
Was Trump Artosis? I'm just trying to name...
Artosis, yes.
For sure? Okay.
Yes,
I just wanted to show that I knew two names. Okay,
Trump is a player who plays for Team Solomit, but Artosis is a famous StarCraft caster, and he was. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure he's still represented by IMG, but I know he used to be represented by Global Esports Management. So that all got kicked off when Global Esports Management was picked up in this past January, and it doesn't look like they've lost their talent. I know Tobias Sherman interviewed him a couple times on old podcasts of mine. He is still working with the agency at IMG. And it seems from all the articles I read today, because there were a lot of comments from Sherman, that he is still very heavily involved in this, and I know he's a grassroots esports fan just like the rest of us.
Sorry, Tom, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I feel like maybe, whether it's intentional or not, what could happen is this could turn things on its head, right? Mm-hmm. The execs at TBS may be sold on the idea of like, hey, esports is a burgeoning audience who can reach some kids that we can't reach with other programming. Let's do this. But they did a very smart thing in committing to a very sophisticated and extensive digital product as well. I mean, I could see this turning into TBS's first entree into becoming having a parallel digital network where they start to realize, well, wait a minute, the star of this show is the stuff we stream, because that's where that audience is. We can bundle it up to advertising, to when we sell advertising with both panels to get people in the door. But having the TV version of this may end up being a loss leader to get people to sponsor it, where all of the viewers are coming on the digital side.
So just to give you a sense, my next question that I was going to ask Garrett was, is Counter-Strike Global Offensive the game to go with if you are going to run a big mainstream league? And then, while Tom was talking and making an excellent point that I wasn't listening to, I decided to do my own reporting and go on to twitch.tv. As we record this, the #1 game that people are watching, all 114,000 plus of them, is Counter-Strike Global Offensive, followed by League of Legends, followed by Hearthstone. So it seems, I mean, that this is right now the king of the mountain in terms of esports competitions, right?
I mean, if you go to Twitch any hour of the day, it can change depending on what's going on now. Right now, DreamHack is having their major Counter-Strike open tournament go on, and that's why there's so many viewers over there. And I feel like we could probably sit here and debate what the right game for mainstream television is, but I think Counter-Strike's a perfectly acceptable one. I think shooters in general are very easy to understand for the uninitiated, because I mean, if you shoot a guy, they die, you get a point, or you move closer to completing your objective. And not necessarily point-based in Counter-Strike, but yeah, I feel like if you were to do something more like one of the MOBAs, especially something like League of Legends or Dota 2, there's such a deep and heavy metagame that it's maybe a little harder for an uninitiated viewer to come in and watch it not knowing absolutely nothing. And that's also, I'm sure, I would assume that they're considering on the production side of this thing when they're picking out their casters and deciding exactly how they're going to present this game to a TBS audience.
Okay, before we wrap this up, they haven't picked a name yet. You guys got any ideas for them?
Boom Headshot.
Coming up on TBS after Conan, Friday night, Boom Headshot. Actually, it's not bad.
It's pretty terrible. Please don't call it that.
I'll tell you what. The one thing, looking at that, like you said, Garrett, that you can debate on which is the right one, but there's probably a short list of games that you would put on there, and just kind of looking at the list of people that are on there, I don't see a whole lot that aren't genre other than Counter-Strike. Everything is either sci-fi or fantasy in theme.
Right. The only thing I might argue for is a fighter, because I think that's, it's one person fighting one other person. You can see their health bars, you can see them landing and blocking hits, and it's just kind of instantly understandable. But I think Counter-Strike is fine, and it's had a huge surge in popularity this year.
All right, let's get to our pick of the day. Russell has it. He says it's pretty likely a lot of you have read William Gibson's Neuromancer, and he recently started listening to it on Audible. Says, I feel like we are getting closer to aspects of Gibson's vision, and its relevance as a bellwether of things to come has perhaps increased in recent years with the increased work on AI, the attention it has been getting in the media. The Audible version includes a recently updated introduction by Gibson, who points out that one of the key things that he did not predict and incorporate into the narrative was the cell phone. See, Russell says, check out the audiobook of Neuromancer by William Gibson, even if you've read it before. Send your picks to feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can find my picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. Few emails to get to. Tim writes, the Mi Pad from Xiaomi runs a version of the MIUI operating system that Xiaomi uses on all their devices, but it does come with the Google Play services and the Play Store. He's been using Gmail and Google Maps, etc. So he says Xiaomi do integrate their own cloud services into the OS, but it's a little bit less like Android on Fire TV, where with Fire TV or Fire tablets, you don't get the Google services at all. He's like, on Xiaomi, you get some Xiaomi stuff, but you also get some Google stuff as well. So good thing to think about if you're looking at experimenting with that. We talked about the Amazon Prime pilots with Scott Johnson yesterday. Harry Miller, ACE, wrote in and was very pleased to hear our discussion about the pilots. He's editing the Pilot Edge, that's the Western, and wanted us to know it's one of the best shows he's ever worked on. He says it's one of the biggest action shows he's cut, especially for TV, and Amazon has been great in supporting the show's creators, Shane Black, Fred Decker, and producer Barry Josephson. Thank you for writing in, Harry. That's awesome.
What? There's a Western by Shane Black? I am so in.
Yep. Coming. They haven't put a release date on the pilot yet, but it's whenever they release their autumn pilots. That's one of the ones in there.
Harry Miller, just email me personally, and we can just talk.
Justin.
You can just send me the Dropbox, and I can watch it tonight. That'd be great.
Yeah, very good. Rough cut's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll give you notes.
You're looking forward to Edge as well?
I was saying I'm actually really looking forward to The Man in the High Castle.
Oh, God, me too. Yeah, we're getting the full season of that. What is that, November? I can't remember, the 16th?
I know, I've been listening to you sing its praises, and I haven't watched the pilot yet because I was waiting to see if it got picked up or not.
Yeah, it's been picked up. You're safe. Although you could wait until it actually comes to the full season, then you could just watch it all at once. But yeah, I'm very excited for that. Tom and esteemed associates writes, Rich from lovely Cleveland. Love the discussion with Dr. Kiki on 3D printed sciatic nerves. Out of curiosity, and because I just started working for a medical research institution, I looked up some of the other published work of the principal investigator, and they all sound equally awesome. Graphene-based wireless bacteria detection on tooth and animal, 3D printed quantum dot light emitting diodes, nanoscale flexoelectricity, silk-based conformal adhesive edible food sensors. I want all of these things to become products that I can buy off the shelf.
I can't wait to see how James Bond uses all of these.
In the next James Bond feature. Tyler wrote in response to Christian's comment about Apple filling VW's void should VW exit the car market. Tyler thinks it's an issue of trust. He writes, if Apple were to succeed in the car market, it would be because we trust them. They build high-quality hardware, well-integrated cutting-edge software, have good customer service. Would we trust Google more than VW with our automotive lives? You can trust Google to build a car navigation system that is the best available in terms of navigation and usability. But Tyler says, I don't know that I trust them to build the hardware well, and I certainly don't expect them to protect my data. Do you guys agree with Tyler? Who do you think is the most trustworthy tech company to get in the car business, if any?
I would go the route of none. Oh, maybe Tesla is funny.
Already there. So that's an easy one. Yeah.
Yeah, of the two, I think we have seen more Apple hardware that has been impressive than we've seen Google-produced hardware, not Google partner hardware. There's been a ton of great Google partner hardware. So if Google bought a car company or bought Tesla or something like that, and then you put some of their self-driving car research into that, I think it would be a different story. But just by themselves, both of them unveil a car tomorrow, I'd probably trust the Apple one. Not by much, by the way, because either of them have built cars. I have a lot of great Apple hardware that I very much enjoy. I don't know if it's enough that I would, want to drive around it.
I'm probably just being a stick in the mud, but I really feel that Apple and Google are going to partner with people. And Google has basically said as much. Apple hasn't said anything. They haven't even admitted they're building a car. But I would think they would partner with a manufacturer. I just can't imagine they wouldn't.
Yeah. By the way, I've heard like over the last month, 3 just totally unrepeatable urban legend. My friend knows a guy. Apple car stories.
Yeah.
It is just the new Bigfoot of the Bay Area.
He was in the woods up in the hills of Oakland. I saw him.
It's all so weird too, because it's never like, oh, my buddy works on it. It's like, I know a guy who works at a thing, and turns out they're putting a conveyor belt in.
Oh, okay.
It's like, oh, stop.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, there you go. Probably going to see these next year. I don't know. We'll wait for my predictions show. Maybe I'll predict that. Hey, thank you, Justin Robert Young, for coming back. It's good to have you back, man.
Oh, man. It is great to be back. I was sorry to be away for so long, but now, I join you now at the turning of the tide for tech news.
And you can find Justin on Twitter, twitter.com/JustinRYoung. Keep an eye on the Contender because big things are afoot, we hear. Anything to tell people?
We've been saying for the last couple of weeks that as soon as we get our print run in, we're going to stop selling the politically incorrect decks. That's all the cards that as the game evolved, we kind of realized that it was more suited for a family to play. So we took out all the words, all the colorful words that I use on Night Attack and so many other programs. We took those out and put them in their own deck. So if you want those, they're available, but you've got to buy them right now because as soon as we put in the order, it doesn't really make sense for us to sell them anymore price-wise. So now is the only time you can get them. Go to thecontender.us and buy them right now.
Do it. Do it now. November 20th is when A Man in the High Castle will premiere, Garrett. So
nice.
You and I will be taking that day off.
I'll be back from my honeymoon. That's perfect timing.
Oh, good. Perfect timing. Well done, Amazon. Garrett Weinzierl, also Nerdtacular Trivia Champion, along with myself, Jenny Josephson, and Veronica Belmont.
Should be.
Just sorry about that, Justin.
I mean, listen, fine.
I'm not.
It's fine. The people, the people know who the real champion is and who got host, and it's fine.
And
I can live with that in my soul.
It's me.
Matt Flanagan.
I was going to say it was Jenny and my singing. That was the champions.
We're all champions as long as you were on my team at Nerdtacular. That's the way I feel about it. Follow Garrett on Twitter, twitter.com/GarrettArt. That's 2 T's in Garrett, 1 T in Art. And go subscribe to The Angry Chicken. I don't even care if you like Hearthstone. It's a fun show to listen to at tacpodcast.com.
I don't believe that's correct.
No, that's not right. As soon as it came out of my mouth, I was like, it's amove.tv/TAC podcast. Is that right?
Just /TAC.
TAC.
Yeah, amove.tv/
Here at the end of every show, and now I will stop criticizing people who write to me and say, what is the name of the website again?
Yeah.
Everything else is TAC. The Twitter's TAC Podcast. The Reddit's TAC
that's
podcast.
What it is. The Twitter account is
Yeah,
TAC.
the email is TAC Podcast, but the website is amove.tv/TAC.
You guys got the tournament this weekend, right?
We do. So all the spaces are filled, but you can still get on the waiting list just in case, because last time we did have, I want to say, about 9 no-shows. So check out amove.tv for more information on the Angriest Chicken Open. But are you playing in it again, Justin?
Smoked by me. Now I know how to play.
Oh, nice.
I was babe in the woods. Now I've spent money. I have cards.
Oh,
Go
that's great.
check that out, please, folks. There's good stuff out there. These folks are making high quality content. We're making the best we can because of you. Thanks to everybody who supports us. DailyTechNewsShow.com/support is where you can find our Patreon link, our PayPal link, or our store link. You want a mug? You want a mouse pad? You want a backup battery? We got it. We got it for you. Head on down to DailyTechNewsShow.com/store. By the way, it warmed my heart how many people went to iTunes and left us a review and rated the show there. That was fantastic. You boosted us like 15 points in the iTunes ratings. And the ones of you who did leave a review of We Have Concerns got extra bonus star hearts in my mind. You guys are the best ever. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Tell me what you think of Jeff and Anthony in our reviews on iTunes for Daily Tech News Show. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can give us a call, 512-59-DAILY. That's 512-593-2459. Listen to the show live Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern at alphageekradio.com. Visit our website, dailytechnewsshow.com. Back tomorrow with the return of Darren Kitchen and Len Peralta. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
That was awesome. Thank you so much, Garrett.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry I was so quiet at the beginning, but I didn't really feel like I was.
Oh, no worries, man.
I
I just tried to let it, where you felt like you had something. I didn't want to put you on the spot necessarily, but the eSports talk was fantastic.
No, dude. Yeah, that would have been not as fun if you were not there.
I'm glad. I was super stoked when you asked because I love this show, so I was glad I got to come on.
Please,
Justin.
come back.
Justin, you.
Yeah.
I'm doing a solo show now because of you.
Yeah.
Nice.
I didn't do it yet, but I saw that it was a thing because I've been around. How do you like it so far?
It's terrifying, but I feel so good after it's posted.
Gotta be bad before it's good.
Yeah.
So my lesson, my advice before is you just got to start doing it. Now that you're doing it, I can tell you the real story, which is like, it's going to be rough initially. Like, it's a totally different game.
Yep.
Than talking to people. And it's, I remember the first, 20 episodes that I did a jury when it was just a sporadic show. It's like, you hit that moment where you're like, oh my God, what else do I have to talk about? And it's like this cold, wet fear of and eventually you get through it and you use that and you're able to listen to the vibrations of the show by yourself in the same way that you would with other people. But I'm so glad you're doing it.
I am nothing but impressed by that attempt and Justin's success, because I tried to do the real deal on CNET solo, and that was with a topic. Topics were not the problem. I had a topic every week, and I still was like, this is just too hard.
It's tough. You find I've only done 2, and I'm not doing it live yet on purpose because you hit these lulls. I'm sure you noticed when you started, Justin. I'm just like, oh crap, what is my next thought? And how do I parse it? I'm so used to some other talking head jumping in here.
Yeah, normally between Dills and Jocelyn, you can't shut them up. You got to get your own stuff in with a piece of dynamite and a crowbar.
Dills, I get it. You like Brawl. Can we? Last week you hated it. Just get in there. You got to jump in. But thanks for having me, guys. That was a lot of fun. I will probably be recanting this entire story on morning stream in a few hours.
Yes. No. Welcome to the team, by the way.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Awesome.
I think it's every other week. I think I'm doing it.
We scooped TMS PM. Woo!
Yeah. Well, I originally was going to get on there and talk about how DraftKings is doing fantasy esports now, and then this happened, and I'm like,
this happened, yeah.
I could talk about that for it to be different, but this is absolutely the biggest news of the month.
Can we talk about DraftKings real quick?
Absolutely, man.
With football, here they've apparently become the only advertiser for all of it's come to the point with football where I'm like, man, remember when they had beer commercials? That was a fun time. We had beer commercials on football games. That's crazy now. Now it's all FanDuels and DraftKings, and basically all of their entire pitch is as if they're introducing you to gambling for the first time.
Yep.
They're like, it's DraftKings is simple. All you do is put money on a sporting event. and then the sporting event becomes interesting.
I think it's kind of smart though, because like you got to figure the people who already knew what that stuff was were already doing it, and they don't need it sold to them.
Well, exactly, but it's like it says almost they're waiting. They're trying to soak up anybody left that's like, man, that sounds like gambling, and they just then DraftKings goes like, well, I don't know.
Gambling is not a problem unless it's a problem. So come to DraftKings and find out if it's a problem.
It's like there's an ad where it's literally a testimonial of a guy, and he's like, I used to find things boring, and now when I've selected a player on DraftKings for money, all of a sudden it's interesting. And it's like, from a fan of gambling addicts, it's like, but yes, you're brilliant. They're brilliant. They legalize gambling, and it's the best thing ever.
Yep.
By the way, I'm going to go with Dr. Payne's suggestion and title the show, Boom Headshot.
At least something will be called that.
I thought that was the worst thing I said this entire show.
It was
Like,
also
oh, think of
it was
something clever, think of
at
something
the
clever.
same time the worst and the best thing that you said.
All right, guys. Well, Night Attack is at 3 o'clock, so in roughly 45 minutes,
But
we're
it's
going
not night at 3.
Yeah,
What's
there's a
that?
Brian Brushwood standing right there going,
in the afternoon.
WTF.
I was asking if you were an after show.
Yeah, we're an after show.
Oh shit, Brian's
I
there?
didn't want to interrupt the actual show. Although that would be a great thing. Like, I'll just sit there and like, I got a new catchphrase. It's, that's some news.
So wait, is Brian just living at
Get
your
out.
place now?
That's
Tom?
some news.
Can you hear them, or do you can turn,
No,
up,
I
the,
can't-
turn
I
up the
can't
speaker
hear
if you
So
want
Brian,
to?
are you just staying with Tom now? Are you
Yeah,
like
he just lives here now.
Is he just
Roger.
like the third wheel?
No, they added him in the later seasons, like Cousin Oliver. You know.
Yeah. Brian's always been here. What are you talking about?
Well, was it Cousin Oliver? Because wait, which one was Oliver? Was it That was a Different Strokes. That was
No, Cousin Oliver was the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, it's because all the kids got older. None of them were cute anymore. Like we need
Yeah.
a cute kid.
Marsha.
All right, so I
That's really weird.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Oh, I could watch that all day.
Oh, it's Garrett.
Hey, Brian.
Hey,
PK.
Garrett. How's it going, man?
Garrett was dropping some eSports knowledge on us.
Oh, right on.
It's good
Did
stuff.
you finally reveal what the E stands for?
It stands for
Ecstasy.
expert
Excellent.
when you're talking about Garrett.
Somehow, I have a funny feeling that's about to be gift.
It is now.
Yep. Give it.
What?
Here, you got,
Guys, thanks again for having me on. I'm gonna go.
Bye, Garrett.
Ready?
Thank you.
Okay.
See ya.
Thanks, Garrett. Mm. Mm. Mm.
What needs to happen is someone just like
Ah, shit.
Yeah, you took the thing away.
What needs to happen, Roger?
nothing. I was just saying you need to trip him so he tips over.
All right, now I need to edit the podcast.
Yeah.
More of this on Night Attack. Following Daily Tech News Show on most of these Diamond Club stations. Okay, what just happened? Okay, everybody got quiet.
Oh, sorry.
All the fun people left.
Mm.
It's just us regulars now.
I know, this is grumps.
How am I gonna grump?
No, I'm speaking for myself only and Tom.
Yeah, that's fine. You can.
Tom accepts the grump mantle.
What are you talking about? Roger is our sunshine.
Yes. If Roger's our optimist, we're all in a lot of fucking trouble. Oh, are we still live? I'm sorry.
Yes, we are.
Wait a minute.
Boom goes the dynamite. Headshot.
That's rather insulting.
Oh, come on. You
I'm
love
not
it.
cynical. People say I'm cynical. I'm
You're
not.
realistic.
I just know how people work.
Yeah, there you go.
I've had to
That's
deal with them my
cynical.
entire life.
I believe in people, Roger. And they always will. Until the zombie apocalypse, then I'll
Belt.
Reminder amount tomorrow and Monday.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow and Monday. Okay.
Yes.
Got
All
it.
prepared.
You have to go to a Farrell's or something tomorrow.
I'm all prepared to do work after the show.
Oh, is it Farrell's? Farrell's? That ice cream parlor with the straw hats.
Oh, Fenton's.
No,
Fenton's.
not Fenton's. Farrell's. The old. It used to be a
Fenton's.
chain. They used to play the organ.
You
Fenton's.
play the organ.
No.
No?
I know. I've been to Fenton's. It's much.
I'm just
We-
going to keep saying Fenton's.
Fenton's was the one and up.
It's FAAR, or no, FARRELL apostrophe S. Farrell's.
Why do ice cream parlors have like stuck in the Dixie era of the teens? Is that when ice cream became famous or something?
No, it's because that's when they pulled out the straw hats and gave you a show, like a vaudeville show, while you ate ice cream. You don't remember? Did you have one? Were you raised in the East Coast?
No, I was
Kenny?
raised in Illinois.
Not you. I know where you came from.
I was raised in the Upper West Side of Manhattan, yes.
So there were Farrell's, at least in New Jersey at the time.
You mean Friendlies?
No, Farrell's. Or maybe I don't know what they call it.
People
Farrell's
in the
is
chat
what
room are
call
saying
it
they
now.
remember Farrell's.
I
Yeah.
don't remember Farrell's.
They were big in the 80s, and then they died out because I think Chuck E. Cheese killed them or something.
No, yeah,
But they used to have a big thing where they gave you, if you had a birthday, they would give you a big ice cream sundae with sparkler candles, and they would come out and sing happy birthday to you.
I feel like this is totally describing an ice cream shop we used to go to in Kentucky when we'd vacation in Kentucky Lake, and I wonder if that was a Farrell's.
It was a chain, and then it fell out, and then it just recently came back in the past 6 years. They opened one up out in not Long Beach, somewhere in LA. Let me see.
Really?
We're going to the one in Sacramento. The one in Southern California is Brea Downtown, Buena Park, Mission Viejo, Riverside, Rancho Cucamonga, Santa Clarita. That's all they have.
All right. Well, that's all I have, too. I
Sweet.
am going to clear out of here for Night Attack coming up next
Wow.
from this very
Let them
chair.
pee on the bricks.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
And goodbye.